5 dark Gothic books that will haunt you for weeks. These aren't just stories, they're curses, bound in paper that will follow you long after you've turned the final page. If you're looking for books that do more than just entertain, books that get under your skin and stay there, then you've come to the right place. Today I'm sharing 5 dark Gothic books that are guaranteed to haunt you for weeks. So go on, pour yourself a cup of something warm, get comfortable, and let's delve into the darkness together. So, what really makes a story Gothic? It's so much more than a creepy old house or a monster in the closet. Gothic literature is all about the vibe. It's an entire aesthetic built on fear and haunting. The genre thrives on atmosphere, on that creeping dread you feel in dark, decaying places, and the unsettling idea that the past is never really past. It digs into the darkness not just in crumbling castles, but inside the human mind itself. The books we're talking about today are absolute masters of this tradition. They don't just use these spooky elements, they weaponize them. They build worlds that feel both fantastical and terrifyingly real, with characters whose inner demons are just as scary as any ghost. Now, while the true beginning of the Gothic novel was Horace Walpole's wild 1764 book, The Castle of Otranto, the 5 I've chosen represent the genre's powerful evolution. Some, like the Brontë sisters' works, are technically Victorian novels, but they are so steeped in Gothic dread that they've become essential to the conversation. Each one offers a unique flavor of fear that will cling to your thoughts, creep into your dreams, and make you second-guess the shadows in your own home. We're talking curses, obsession, psychological torment, and the crushing weight of secrets. Let's get into what makes each one a quintessential Gothic nightmare. Let's start with a story that literally came from a nightmare, a novel that basically invented science fiction while perfecting Gothic horror. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Now, forget the green-skinned, neck-bolted monster from the old movies. This is a deep, philosophical, and profoundly sad story about creation, abandonment, and the true nature of monstrosity. The haunting in Frankenstein isn't from a ghost, it's from a guilty conscience. It's the story of Victor Frankenstein, a brilliant but arrogant student obsessed with a terrifying ambition, creating life from death. Shelley is a genius of Gothic mystery here, keeping his methods shrouded in secrecy. He talks about his secret toil in shadowy labs, forcing us to imagine the grotesque details. That psychological focus on the creator's spiraling madness is where the book really sinks its teeth into you. When the creature finally awakens, with those watery eyes and yellow skin stretched too tight, Victor is disgusted. He runs away in terror, abandoning his creation to a world that will only ever judge it as a monster. And that's the real, lingering tragedy. The creature doesn't start out evil. It starts as a lonely being, desperate for connection. Its journey from innocence to vengeful rage is a direct result of humanity's cruelty and his creator's unforgivable neglect. The creature's loneliness is a cold, desolate thing, far more terrifying than any physical threat. The setting just amplifies this bleakness. From the stormy nights in Ingolstadt, where life is born, to the icy wastes of the Arctic, where the final chase happens, the landscape mirrors the character's internal despair. It's a cold, unforgiving world. Frankenstein will haunt you because it asks one simple, terrifying question. Who is the real monster? Is it the creature born from ambition, or the man who rejected it and refused to take responsibility for the darkness he unleashed? That question will echo in your mind long after you've closed the book. Next, we're off to the desolate, windswept moors of Yorkshire for a story that's less a romance and more a force of nature. Wuthering Heights by Emily Brontë is obsession made feral. It's a raw, brutal, and unforgettable novel about a love so powerful it reaches beyond the grave, not as a sweet memory, but as a vengeful, destructive curse. The haunting here is in the very air you breathe. The novel's 2 main settings, Wuthering Heights and Thrushcross Grange, are physical stand-ins for the story's central conflict. Wuthering Heights is on a barren hill, constantly battered by atmospheric tumult, a place of passion and violence, just like the Earnshaw family and their adopted son, the dark and mysterious Heathcliff. Down in the valley is Thrushcross Grange, a picture of calm, refinement, and civility, home to the gentle Lintons. The story revolves around the all-consuming bond between Catherine Earnshaw and Heathcliff. This isn't your typical love story, it's a primal connection. They see themselves as 2 halves of the same soul. Catherine famously says, "My love for Heathcliff resembles the eternal rocks beneath. Nellie, I am Heathcliff." It's more than a declaration of love, it's a statement of identity. But when Catherine, tempted by social status and comfort, decides to marry Edgar Linton, she unleashes a storm of vengeance and despair that poisons 2 generations. Heathcliff's transformation from a tormented boy into a cruel, calculating man is one of the most terrifying character arcs in all of literature. He doesn't just want revenge, he becomes a walking, breathing vessel for it. And the supernatural in this book feels terrifyingly real. After Catherine dies, Heathcliff begs her to haunt him, to take any form, just so he isn't left alone in that abyss. And she does. Her ghost isn't just a fleeting glimpse, it's an oppressive, constant presence. The novel literally opens with a narrator having a nightmare of Catherine's ghost clawing at the window, trying to get in after 20 years of wandering. Wuthering Heights will haunt you because it shows love not as a comfort, but as a ravenous, destructive force, as wild and unforgiving as the moors themselves. From those wild moors, we move into the claustrophobic halls of a remote manor in Charlotte Bronté's Jane Eyre. While it shares a Gothic heart with her sister's novel, this book's haunting is different. It's one of psychological suspense, dark secrets, and the terror of a woman trying to survive in a world built to crush her. This is the story of Jane, an orphaned governess who is plain, brilliant, and fiercely independent. After a brutal childhood, she takes a job at Thornfield Hall, a remote and mysterious estate where she meets her employer, the brooding, Byronic Mr. Rochester. The house is pure Gothic, ancient, full of shadows, locked doors, and a heavy sense of mystery. And Brontë is a master of suspense. Soon after Jane arrives, she's plagued by bizarre, terrifying events. She hears strange, chilling laughter from the forbidden 3rd floor and saves Rochester from a mysterious fire set in his bedroom. These seemingly supernatural events create an almost unbearable tension. As Jane falls for the magnetic Rochester, she discovers the source of the terror isn't a ghost, but a dark secret he's hiding, a secret literally locked away in the attic. The haunting in Jane Eyre is the haunting of the past, of a terrible mistake that stalks the halls of Thornfield. The suspense peaks on Jane and Rochester's wedding day, where the secret is revealed in the most horrifying way possible. But even after the truth is out, the book hits us with one of its most famous supernatural moments. Miles away and heartbroken, Jane hears Rochester's voice calling her name across the moors, a desperate psychic cry for help that ultimately brings her back to him. Jane Eyre stays with you because it's about fighting for your own soul. It's about the dread of the unknown, the terror of a locked door, and the chilling idea that the scariest horrors are the human secrets we keep. If you're finding these recommendations as deliciously dark as I am, and you're enjoying this little descent into the Gothic, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It lets me know you want more deep dives into the shadowy corners of literature. Now, for our next book, we turn to the granddaddy of all vampire tales. No list of haunting Gothic books would be complete without the novel that defined an entire horror subgenre, Bram Stoker's Dracula. This isn't just a story, it's an artifact of dread. The horror here is insidious, a creeping infection that travels from a remote castle in Transylvania right into the heart of modern London. What makes Dracula so terrifying is its format. The story is told through letters, journal entries, and newspaper clippings. This forces you, the reader, to become a detective, piecing together the horrifying truth from scattered clues. You feel the dread build with the characters. You experience Jonathan Harker's dawning realization that he's not a guest in Dracula's castle, but a prisoner. You feel the panic in England as Lucy Westenra suffers from a mysterious illness, her life slowly draining away night after night. This structure makes the supernatural feel shockingly real. Dracula himself is a masterpiece of Gothic evil. He's ancient, aristocratic, and predatory, a symbol of a dark, feudal past invading the modern scientific world. He doesn't just drink blood, he corrupts the soul, turning his victims into slaves of his will. The atmosphere is thick with menace, from midnight carriage rides through wolf-haunted forests to the eerie silence of Carfax Abbey. The slow, methodical way that Van Helsing and his crew of light use both modern science and ancient folklore to fight this evil is a masterclass in suspense. Dracula will haunt you with its slow-burn terror. It's the fear of something at your window in the night, the dread of a contagion that spreads in darkness, and the unforgettable presence of a monster who promised he would cross oceans of time to find you. Our final book is a more modern Gothic masterpiece, but it's every bit as haunting. Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca from 1938 proves that a ghost doesn't have to be real to haunt every corner of a house and every moment of a life. The haunting here is purely psychological, a suffocating presence woven into an old estate. The book opens with one of literature's most famous lines, "Last night I dreamt I went to Manderley again." Right away, we know the house, Manderley, is more than a setting. It's a character, a symbol of a past that can't be escaped. The story is told by a shy, unnamed young woman who hastily marries the wealthy widower Maxime de Winter. He whisks her away to his magnificent estate, but the fairy tale quickly turns into a psychological nightmare. The new Mrs. de Winter finds she's living in a shadow. The house, the staff, and her husband are all still under the spell of his first wife, the beautiful and mysterious Rebecca, who died tragically a year earlier. Rebecca's presence is everywhere, in her perfectly preserved rooms, in the monogram napkins, and in the adoring memories of the sinister housekeeper, Mrs. Danvers. Mrs. Danvers, one of fiction's most chilling villains, worships Rebecca's memory and subtly works to destroy the narrator's confidence, making her feel like an unworthy fraud. The haunting in Rebecca is the ghost of an impossible ideal. Our narrator is constantly compared to a woman she never met, a specter of perfection that fills every room. But this is a Gothic novel, so of course there are dark secrets. The truth about Rebecca's death is far more shocking than anyone could imagine. The final reveal turns the whole story on its head, but it comes too late. The past has already done its damage, ending in a fiery, unforgettable climax that ensures Manderley will haunt its residents and you forever. So there you have it, 5 dark jewels of Gothic literature. From the scientific horror of Frankenstein to the feral obsession of Wuthering Heights, the locked room mystery of Jane Eyre, the creeping contagion of Dracula, and the psychological haunting of Rebecca, each of these novels uses the classic tools of the Gothic, isolated settings, supernatural dread, and dark secrets to explore the most terrifying landscape of all, the human heart. They prove that the worst curses are the ones we carry inside us, and the ghosts that stick around the longest are those of love, loss, and regret. And for a final little nightcap of nightmares, if you want to see where it all started, you have to check out the genre's wild granddaddy, The Castle of Otranto by Horace Walpole. Published in 1764, it's the novel that first called itself a Gothic story and gave us all the tropes, moving portraits, giant helmets falling from the sky, and haunted castle corridors. Now, I want to hear from you. What are the Gothic novels that have haunted you? What books got under your skin and refused to leave? Let me know in the comments below. I'm always looking for my next dark read. Thanks for joining me in the shadows.